Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. As-salatu was-salamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Welcome to our Tafseer lesson. Today from Ayah number 267 of Surah Al Baqarah. A'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. يا أيها الذين آمنوا أنفقوا من طيبات ما كسبتم ومما أخرجنا لكم من الأرض ولا تيمموا الخبيث منه تنفقون ولستم بآخذيه إلا تغمضوا فيه واعلموا أن الله غني حميد. O you who believe, give of the good things which you have honorably earned, and of the fruits of the earth which we have produced for you, and do not even aim at getting anything which is bad, in order that out of it you may give away something when you yourselves would not receive it, except with closed eyes, and know that Allah is free of all wants and worthy of all praise. Now that is a follow-up discussion of infaq fi sabilillah, to spend in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because as you see that in the last section of Surah Al Baqarah, there was a discussion from verse number 261 about those people who spend in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how much they are rewarded, multiplied reward. And then what type of spending in the way of Allah, which is totally for the sake of Allah, not to show any favors, not to injure someone's feeling. That was the proper way of infaq fi sabilillah. And in the very same way, it is said, don't negate your charities, don't cancel your charities by showing favors and giving injuring remarks. And then two examples of those people who spend either in the way of Allah or for show off are given. Now this ayah comes, which says once again, O believer, spend min tayyibati ma kasabtum, out of those good things which you have earned. Now the word at-tayyibat, we have already explained. At-tayyibat, what is tayyib? It's something which is very wholesome, very healthy, beneficial, even good looking, good smelling. These are the things which are known to be tayyibat. But there is another component of tayyibat which is very, very important, that tayyibat are such income which comes from halal earnings. Any type of earning where there is an injustice or any deceit involved, that is not tayyibat. Though it is looking good, but it is not tayyibat. And as we know in one of the hadiths, in Allah tayyibun la yaqbalu illa tayyiban. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself is tayyib, and he does not accept tayyibat, except good things. And then we have already mentioned that tayyibat are of all types. Tayyibat in your saying. ألم تر كيف ضرب الله مثلا كلمة طيبة كشجرة طيبة أصلها ثابت وفرعها في السماء. That is لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. الكلمة الطيبة. That is the best kalima. But anyhow, any kalima, any word which is a good word, a word which gives you comfort, good feeling, that is kalima of tayyiba. In the same way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, even in the marriage, الطيبات للطيبين والطيبون للطيبات. And in the very same way, الخبيثات للخبيثين والخبيثون للخبيثات, because the word khabith is going to be totally opposite to tayyibat. So, if tayyibat are good things, beneficial things, wholesome things, healthy stuff, khabisat would be totally opposite of that. Anything which is injurious, which is unhealthy, which is not wholesome, which is ugly, for example, which is bad smelling, you can say that it is among al-khabisat. And in the very same way, halal, which is coming, at-tayyibat, which are coming from halal sources, khabisat, which are coming from haram sources. So that is those tayyibat from which you have to spend in the way of Allah. أنفقوا من طيبات ما كسبتم. Al-kasb, the word kasb, that is used wherever you have to earn something with your own hands, with your own efforts, with your own struggle. That is kasb. So all merchandise, trading, different sales, all comes under this word al-kasb, min tayyibati ma kasabtum. So anything which is coming from your own income of your hand, and anything وَمِمَّا أَخْرَجْنَا لَكُم مِّنَ الْأَرْضِ, and anything which we have brought out from the earth. Of course, the most obvious thing is all what is grown out of this earth, all our rizq, our grain, wheat, rice, vegetables, fruits, all those things are coming from the earth itself. And we know that as we have to pay zakat from our gold and silver, from our wealth, in the very same way we have to give zakat of our product of the earth as well. So when you come to give out of zakat or out of sadaqah, give the tayyibat, the good things among these two categories. Now the second category also include, according to some, even the minerals which are coming out of earth as well. So if the minerals are coming out of the earth, they are to be treated as zakat. And zakat of gold and silver, 2.5% should be given. But according to Ahnaf, it is to be treated as a rikaz. Rikaz, they used to be those treasures which are dug out in Jahiliyyah, treasures of gold and silver or any other things, and they have been discovered by digging them out. So in al-rikaz is 1/5 like al-ghanima, like the war booty. So in the war booty, 1/5 is given, which is the double of zakat. In the very same way, according to Ahnaf, minerals are to be treated as a rikaz. So 1/5 is required of it. But according to Al-Jamhur, the minerals are treated just like gold and silver, and 2.5% is to be given from al-ma'adin, or from the minerals. وَلَا تَيَمَّمُوا الْخَبِيثَ, and don't aim at that, don't go for al-khabith, bad earnings. Minhu tunfiqun, you want to give out of it, you want to spend out of it, means infaq, when you are giving for sadaqah. But if you have to receive the very same thing, you are not going to receive it. وَلَسْتُمْ بِآخِذِيهِ, but you yourself, you don't want to receive it. إِلَّا أَن تُغْمِضُوا فِيهِ, except with closed eyes. It means that when you come to accept such type of commodities which are which you yourself don't like to receive it, if you have to receive it, you would receive it reluctantly. You would not receive it happily at all. So if that is the situation, then why do you spend out of it? وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ حَمِيدٌ, and know that Allah is free of all wants and worthy of all praise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ghani. He is not in need of your sadaqat, of your spending, of your money which you give in charity, but that is for your own benefit. That is the main thing. That is for your own benefit. Here, there is a very beautiful hadith reported by Abdullah ibn Masud and is transmitted by Imam Ahmad. Some part of this hadith are related to our discussion today. It says, "Inna Allah qasama bainakum akhlaqakum kama qasama bainakum arzaqakum." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has distributed among you your characters, your moral characters, just like He distributed among you your rizq, your sustenance, your food. وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يُعْطِي الدُّنْيَا مَنْ يُحِبُّ وَمَنْ لَا يُحِبُّ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives worldly things to whom He likes and even to whom He does not like. وَلَا يُعْطِي الدِّينَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَحَبَّ. But He gives deen to the one whom He loves. فَمَنْ أَعْطَاهُ اللَّهُ الدِّينَ فَقَدْ أَحَبَّهُ. So if a person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him deen, it means that Allah has loved him. وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ لَا يُسْلِمُ عَبْدٌ حَتَّى يُسْلِمَ قَلْبُهُ وَلِسَانُهُ. By whom? In whose self is my, in whose nafs is, in whose hand is my own life. لا يسلم عبد. A person is not going to be a Muslim حتى يسلم قلبه ولسانه, until his heart and his tongue surrenders to me, submits to me. ولا يؤمن حتى يأمن جاره بوائقه. And a person is not going to be a mu'min. Mu'min, which means to give, to have security and peace, until his neighbor is saved of all his bad actions. قال وما بوائقه. What are those things which are bad, which in this hadith is said to be that a mu'min is the one that his neighbor is saved from his bawa'iq. The Prophet said, غِشُّهُ وَظُلْمُهُ. That is, all his actions which are done out of deceit and injustice. وَلَا يَكْسِبُ عَبْدٌ مَالًا مِنْ حَرَامٍ فَيُنْفِقُ مِنْهُ فَيُبَارِكَ لَهُ فِيهِ وَلَا يَتَصَدَّقَ بِهِ وَيُقْبَلُ مِنْهُ. And if a person earns anything out of haram, and then he spends out of it, فَيُبَارِكَ لَهُ فِيهِ, then Allah is not going to do barakah into it. وَلَا يَتَصَدَّقُ بِهِ فَيُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. And even if he gives in charity, Allah is not going to accept it. وَلَا يَتْرُكُهُ خَلْفَ ظَهْرِهِ إِلَّا كَانَ زَادَهُ إِلَى النَّارِ. And if this man dies and leaves behind him such type of money which is khabith, which is not halal, it becomes its provision to the hellfire. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَمْحُو السَّيِّئَ بِالسَّيِّئِ وَلَكِنْ يَمْحُو السَّيِّئَ بِالْحَسَنِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not erase a bad things with another bad things, but He erases the bad thing with something good after it. إِنَّ الْخَبِيثَ لَا يَمْحُو الْخَبِيثَ. The bad thing, a khabith thing, is not going to erase another bad thing, another khabith thing. Now we come to the next ayah, which is 268. الشيطان يعدكم الفقر ويأمركم بالفحشاء والله يعدكم مغفرة منه وفضلا والله واسع عليم. Satan threatens you with poverty and bids you to conduct unseemly. Allah promises you His forgiveness and bounties, and Allah cares for all, and He knows all things. Here it is said that here two types of promises are mentioned: a promise from Satan and a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Satan promises here means that he allures you, he gives you false hopes. الشيطان يعدكم الفقر. Satan is actually promising you poverty, ويأمركم بالفحشاء, and he is asking you, commanding you to do obscene acts. وَاللَّهُ يَعِدُكُمْ مَغْفِرَةً مِّنْهُ وَفَضْلًا, and Allah promises you forgiveness from Him and His bounties. وَاللَّهُ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ, and Allah knows all things. So it means that when Satan is going to promise you a lot of money out of lottery, for example, out of gambling, for example, yes, it is alluring to you in your eyes, but actually it will bring you poverty. In the very same way, all such actions which are based upon lust and desire, and they are also very alluring to you in your eyes, they are actually ending up into obscene acts, sometimes committing zina as well. So that is the end of what Shaytaan is going to ask you to do. On the contrast, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises you such actions which will bring you maghfiratan minhu fadla, forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His bounties. Now the word al-fahsha, which is coming from fuhush, fahasha, that means to exceed. Even it is used if the prices are gone up, you can use this word fahasha as well. In the very same way, if you exceed in the evil, that is fahsha as well. So the word fahsha, this is why it has been used for such type of actions like adultery. Why? Because someone is exceeding in the evil when he commits an act like that. So this is about the two promises: promise from Allah and the promise from Satan. And remember that Wallahu wasi'un alim, that He got si'ah, He got expansion. When He comes to give, He gives you a lot. And He knows your actions, He knows your intentions. According to that, you would be given your reward. And there is something else. The person who believes in the promises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is going to get something more important, more valuable in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يُؤْتِ الْحِكْمَةَ مَنْ يَشَاءُ, verse number 269. يُؤْتِ الْحِكْمَةَ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَمَنْ يُؤْتَ الْحِكْمَةَ فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا وَمَا يَذَّكَّرُ إِلَّا أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. He grants wisdom to whom He pleases, And he to whom wisdom is granted receives indeed a benefit overflowing, but none will grasp the message but men of understanding. Yutil hikmata man yasha. He gives hikmah or wisdom to whom he likes. This shows that the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that will bring you, if you stick to those promises, that will bring you something else, something greater, something marvelous, and that is al-hikmah. Hikmah, the word hikmah, which is coming from al-hukm. Al-hukm means something which becomes a barrier, which is going to stop you. So this is why the person who is hakim, the person who is not going to commit blunders, errors. Why? Because he got intellect to stop him from doing such things. So hikmah, all such things which are going to stop you from committing something bad, which can bring you disastrous type of consequences. So if that is hikmah, this is why many scholars and philosophers, they wanted to define this hikmah. And they have defined it in many ways. One way is to define al-hikmah is ma'rifatul ashya ala ma hiya alayhi bima tablughu at-taqah. To know the things as they are, the reality of the things, and which are within the reach of the people. Al-hikmah, al-isabatu fil qawl. When you say something right, that is hikmah as well. According to some, this is khashyatullah. That is the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Abdullah ibn Masud said, Ra'sul hikmati makhafatullah. The top of hikmah is to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the sayings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam are full of wisdom, al-hikmah. So this is why, as Imam Shafi'i has said, that al-hikmah is actually the sunnah. The sunnah, the saying, the actions, and the approvals of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imam Malik said, al-fiqhu fi dinillah. That is the understanding about the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Abdullah ibn Abbas has more generalized it by saying that al-hikmah is to know al-Qur'an and to know about the ayat of al-Qur'an, which are abrogated, which are not abrogated, which are muhkam, to know what is halal and what is haram. There is another definition which is also very convincing, very beautiful, and that is al-qawl al-munasib fil-waqt al-munasib fil-makan al-munasib. It means that to say something which is appropriate at a time which is suitable, at a place which is suitable as well. And we have given the examples of it in many of our lessons. So if you are going to congratulate a person who is newly wed, you see the couple and you have to say, Barakallahu lakuma wa alaykuma wa jama'a baynakuma ala khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you upon you, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala get you together with all goodness and fairness. This is the word, that is the hikmah here. But there is another ayah of al-Quran, which is the ayah of al-Quran. But you should not say that ayah at that time, and that is inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. You are not going to say that. Opposite to that, you visit someone at the time of the death of someone in his family. What are you going to say? You are going to say inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. But you are not going to say to him, Barakallahu lakuma wa alaykuma wa jama'a bainakuma ala khayr. The person who is dead and you yourself, may Allah bless you both. We're not going to say that. So it means that we have to say the proper word, the appropriate word at an appropriate time at a suitable place as well. And in the same way, our Prophet ﷺ has given this example of two persons, la hasada illa fisnatayn. If you want to be jealous, then this jealousy is only allowed in two cases. Rajulun atahu Allahu mal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given someone a lot of money, and then he is spending this money for the sake of Allah, for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَرَجُلٌ آتَاهُ اللَّهُ الْحِكْمَةِ. And the other person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him his hikmah, the wisdom. فَهُوَ يَقْضِي بِهَا وَيُعَلِّمُهَا. So he uses this hikmah to give judgment out of it, and he is teaching it. And we can say that somebody or many people in this world, they want to have insurance upon life. Why? So that their children could get benefit out of it. But there is a better ta'meen. In English it is called, in Arabic it is called at-ta'meen, the insurance. The best insurance for you yourselves. The best insurance, that is your pious sons, your pious daughters, your pious children, al-waladu salih. Because if you have given them tarbiyah, good tarbiyah, of course you are going to spend a lot of money in providing them that good tarbiyah, then you got one insurance. They are going to supplicate for you. They are going to make dua for you. This is one of the three things which is going to benefit a deceased person after his death. Waladun salihun yad'u lah. A pious child who is going to make supplication for him after the death of that person. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned about Luqman in Surah Luqman, when he said, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا لُقْمَانَ الْحِكْمَةَ أَنِ اشْكُرْ لِلَّهِ. When we have given Luqman al-hikmah, the wisdom, to be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even in Arabic poetry, they used to use a lot of proverbs, similitudes, all pieces of wisdom. So that was known to them. And we can also say about the next part of this ayah, وَمَنْ يُؤْتَ الْحِكْمَةَ فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. And the person who is given wisdom, he is given a lot of khayr, a lot of good. Of course, if a person got hikmah, that hikmah which can stop him from bad consequences, yes, that is khayrun kathir. Because of your hikmah, because of your wisdom, you have avoided some evil consequences of your actions. On the other hand, the person who follows his own desires, he is not following hikmah at all. He ended up into some misfortune, disaster, calamity. وَمَا يَذَّكَّرُ إِلَّا أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. And who are the people who are going to get benefit out of this nasiha? None except the people who got lub, who got good understanding. So that was about this ayah. Now let us move to the next ayah, which is 270. وَمَا أَنفَقْتُم مِّن نَّفَقَةٍ أَوْ نَذَرْتُم مِّن نَّذْرٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُهُ وَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِنْ أَنصَارٍ. And whatever you spend in charity or devotion, be sure Allah knows it all. But the wrongdoers have no helpers. وَمَا أَنفَقْتُم مِّن نَفَقَةٍ أَوْ نَظَرْتُم مِّن نَظْرٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ. Here and in the subsequent verses, there is this discussion about infaq fi sabilillah in all ayat which are coming after it. At least this ayat 270 till 273, 4 ayats, all about spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whatever you spend out of any nafaqah, or if you have done any vow, of course it means a good vow, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُهُ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows it. Why did he mention Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows it? Because knowing means that Allah is going to reward you because of that vow. And this is not for those people who are zalimeen. وَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِنْ أَنصَارٍ. Zalimin got no helper at all. الظالمين, they are al-mushrikeen. الظالمين, they are munafiqeen. الظالمين, we have seen so many examples of those people who spend just for show off, just to injure the feelings of the poor. They are not spending it in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are al-zalim. Now here there are two things are mentioned. The first thing is that is just spending in the way of Allah. وَمَا أَنفَقْتُم مِّن نَفَقَةٍ. And the second thing is a vow. What is a vow? The vow is that you see something which is allowed in Sharia, but you make it obligatory upon you. Of course, the obligatory prayers are obligatory. You can't make them more obligatory. But if something is not obligatory, it is either sunnah or mustahab, and you make it wajib upon yourself that by Allah I'm going to do it. For example, someone said that I am going to pray every night such and such rak'ah prayer, or I am going to fast every day, or leaving one day and fasting another day. This is all known as nadhr, as a vow. Now the principle in the vow is, as the Prophet ﷺ has said, Man nadhara an yuti Allah fal yuti'. If a person out of vow he wants to obey Allah, he should do that. Man nadhara an ya'si Allah fala ya'si. But if out of this nadhar and vow he wants to disobey Allah, then you don't do it. A person is saying that I'm going to kill that person out of no justification at all. So this is a vow which is in disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you are not supposed to, we're not supposed to do it or fulfill it. We have known that this type of vow that is mentioned in the Quran, just to go to Surah Al Imran, where it says the saying of the wife of Imran, رَبِّ إِنِّي نَظَرْتُ لَكَ مَا فِي بَطْنِي مُحَرَّرًا فَتَقَبَّلْ مِنِّي إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Allah, I have vowed whatever is in my hamal, or in myself, I have vowed it to be devoted to you. So please accept it. فَتَقَبَّلْ مِنِّي إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. And she wanted this type of devotion to to the Haykal or to the mosque of Jerusalem. That is the story of Sayyidina Maryam alayhi salam. Even in Jahiliyyah, we have seen like Abdul Muttalib, the grandfather of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he vowed that if Allah gives me 10 sons, I'm going to sacrifice the 10th one for Al-Kaaba. And we know the story that the 10th one was Abdullah, the father of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he has to fulfill his vow, but later we are not going to go into the full story, that he replaced that vow with 100 camel, which is actually the blood money of murdering one person. In the very same way, it is also said about his wife, Nutaylah, that when she lost Abbas, her son, when he was very young, she vowed that if he is found, she is going to clothe Al-Kaaba with dibaj, with the cover of Al-Kaaba, which is made of gold, the golden threads. And she found Abbas, and then she fulfilled the promise. In the very same way, we come to know in the ahadith of the Prophet that Sayyidina Umar, he came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, during Jahiliyyah, once I vowed that I am going to do i'tikaf one night in Al-Masjid Al-Haram. So the Prophet ﷺ said, Awfi binadrik. Awfi binadrik. Just fulfill your vow. Just fulfill your vow. So, Yufuna bin Nadr, as in Surah Al Baqarah, one of the good characters of the people is that if you made something obligatory upon you, which is something good, then you have to fulfill it. But anyhow, a person should do the good things without making any vows. According to this hadith, which is reported by Sayyidina Abu Huraira and also Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar, the Prophet ﷺ said, Inna nadra la yuqaddimu shay'an wa la yuakhir, wa la yaruddu shay'an, wa la yati ibnu Adama bi shay'in lam yakun quddira lah, ولكنه يستخرج به من البخيل. What does it mean? By vow, you are not going to get something early. By vow, you can't get something delayed. By vow, you are not going to get something which is not destined for you. But the main thing is, وَلَكِنَّهُ يُسْتَخْرَجُ بِهِ مِنَ الْبَخِيلِ. Vow is such thing that a bakhil person, a miser person who does not want to spend anything out of his money except through vows. So as if the vow is such thing by which a miser person is forced to give some money. Otherwise, he is not going to spend out of his money at all. So that was about this ayah. وَمَا أَنفَقْتُم مِّن نَفَقَةٍ أَوْ نَذَرْتُم مِّن نَذْرٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُهُ وَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِنْ أَنصَارٍ. And here we come to the end of today's lesson. صلى الله تعالى على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وجزاكم الله خيرا.